Hello, my most amazing artists. So today we are going to continue working on our Henri Matisse Goldfish project, or Henry, if you want to call him. So you'll need your watercolor set, a cup of water, and some crayons. I just have a couple of colors. You won't need a lot. You could just use your white crayon, or you can use different colors. It's up to you. So to recap, last week we drew our aquarium, and we drew some fish, and then we outlined everything in black or colorful crayons so you can feel that wax resist. We are going to start painting today, but what I want to start with is our background. This won't take very long to paint because we're just painting the fish and then the water. So we're going to put this off to the side, and we're going to get out our wall. Because remember, we created the dot, we did the vertical line, diagonal, and horizontal to create like a room. So this is the floor, and these are the walls, like if we were looking into a corner of a room, right? So we're going to watercolor this, but before we watercolor it, Matisse loved pattern. He loved prints. He loved textures and color. So I wanted to do more resist on this one, and we didn't get to do that in class or last week on camera either. So I just took a couple colors, and I'm going to just start drawing some patterns or some designs. It can be polka dots, it can be stripes, it could be flowers, whatever you want to draw on your Matisse. And you can put patterns on both walls and the floor, or just the walls. We need to have at least some patterns on both walls. The floor is up to you because we're going to have a lot going on in the bottom when we add a table and then our aquarium. Up to you. White crayon will show up white when you paint it, but it's hard to see. I'm going to do some orange because I might do some contrast colors. Like I might paint my wall blue, so I want my pattern to be orange. Or I might paint my wall magenta and I want it green. It's up to you. It just creates some texture and some interest. So I'm going to keep it pretty simple. And I think I'm just going to make some spirals. I'm pretending to make wallpaper. So basically we're wallpaper designers right now. And I'm just going to put a pattern that I like or some shapes I like. Some sort of design on my one wall. And I'm pushing kind of hard because you want to be able to feel that wax. If you can't really feel it, then you won't be able to resist that watercolor. And that's kind of what we're going for. All right, let's keep going here. You could do stars, you could do polka dots, lots of fun things. So let me see. I think that looks good. So I can feel the wax, so I'm good with that one. Maybe on this one, I'm going to keep it just some wavy lines. Like the waves are crawling up the wall, keeping it, maybe I'm going to be a little bit more textured. Again, you can do what feels good to you. You are the artist. My only thing is you need to feel that wax. Maybe on the bottom, I'll do something for the floor. Maybe I'll just do some stripes coming straight down. And since I'm doing this in white, I know you can't see it. I can barely see it. But I'm just adding some texture and some pattern. Remember, I said you don't have to. I can feel it, though. You don't have to do all three. I at least want the walls patterned. The floor can be solid. That's up to you. So now we're ready to paint. Pick one color for each section. So I want to do teal or turquoise is one of my favorites. So I'm getting a puddle of water in there, and I'm kind of swirling my paintbrush. I'm just going to paint right over everything. I want to hold my paintbrush to get on the tippy toe to go right by the line in the corner. Lots of water and some color, and I can paint right over my crayon, and it shows up. So you're going to kind of get that idea. You don't need to see me paint my entire picture. If I want it lighter, I add more water. If I want it darker, I tickle some more paint and just paint right over. You don't have to go super slow with this. You can kind of be quick with this, which is kind of like we did the watercolor resist. I can just kind of go. So I'm going to kind of stop it here. I just don't want any big. I'm going to kind of just loosen up that paint there. I don't want any big sections. All right. So we're going to pretend like I painted my whole wall. So I'm going to paint this wall one color, this wall one color, and my floor a different color. Once you have it all painted, put this off to the side to dry, and you're going to get out your goldfish picture. Now we're only painting the goldfish and the water. So we want to paint the goldfish first. Now that you're a fish, and my orange is a little dirty, so if your paints are getting a little dirty, remember some clean water and just keep rinsing and swirling until all that paint gets clean. Because I sometimes have to share my paints with other students and they don't keep it as clean. All right, so now my orange is clean. I want to keep my goldfish orange. You can make them yellow, you can make them red. I would keep them a warm color because we want them to contrast with that water. So any warm color you want, it's up to you. You do want to kind of be careful, staying inside your lines. You can paint over your crayon, resist. That little crayon around the outline we did is going to help keep everything kind of in place. If you want to kind of be fancy and see what happens when you mix a little yellow, my yellow's dirty too, man. In and kind of layer some colors, you can play around with that. So I put a little yellow and orange on my fish. They can all be a little different colors. Maybe I'm like this one more yellow. All right. And if I have a big puddle like that, I can just scrape some water off my brush and just soak it up with my paintbrush. Okay, and maybe I want to add a little orange to it too. When you add wet paint to wet paint, it makes that really fun marble color. So what I want you to work on here is that control of your paintbrush, making sure your paint stays where you put it. That little outline is going to help you. I kind of enjoy mixing the yellow and the orange together. I think it makes it more interesting, but you decide what works for you. So I'm just going to paint right over everything, just being really careful inside. I know some friends in class made really tiny, tiny fish. Just do your best to get everything with some color. And I love when you put color on top of color, it just kind of explodes like that. It's one of my favorite things. All right, so we're going to paint here. Now, before I can jump right in, I'm going to leave him, I think, just really orange. I like that. Maybe add a little more yellow to this guy. Okay. So I'm going to let this kind of soak in. And after this dries, because if we want to jump in and paint the background of my water blue, it's going to mix that orange. And blue and orange are complementary colors. They're opposites. When they mix, they get that gray, muddy, gross color. So I'm going to pause my video so mine can dry, and I'll come back and show you how we're going to paint the water and be done with this project for this week.